So you go to YouTube, search for powerful tactics, and copy them into your saves, only to find out they don't work. Then you start wondering, are these creators lying? But what if I tell you they're not lying? These tactics actually do work. So you might ask, if they're not lying, why doesn't it work for me? It's simple. The tactic doesn't fit your players. For example, Luis Enrique's PSG team is one of the best attacking teams right now. So why don't other managers just copy that style and start winning too? They can do that, right? But do they have Hakimi, Nuno Mendes, Vitinha? These are key players that make that system work. That's why whenever I drop a tactic for you, I also tell you the kind of players it fits. But to avoid all that, why not just create your own tactic based on the players you already have? Think about it. Sega, the creators of Football Manager, want you to keep playing their game. And they know if you keep losing, you'll get frustrated and quit. So they've actually made tactic creation easier, but most people overlook it. And I'm telling you, it's very simple. Once you invest a little time to understand it, you can start building your own tactics.
The first thing about building a tactic is the shape. And this is where most people get it wrong. They just pick a formation because it looks good. 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, 3-5-2, without actually thinking about what it does. But your shape isn't just numbers on a screen. It decides how your team attacks, defends, and controls space. So how do you actually choose the right shape? It starts with your players. Look at your squad and ask yourself, where is my strength? Do you have strong wingers? Then you might need a wide system, like a 4-3-3. Do you have solid midfielders, but weak wide players? Then a narrow shape, like a diamond, could work better. Do you have fast wingbacks? Then maybe a back three is your advantage. Your shape should highlight your best players, not hide them. Then the next thing is balance. Every shape must answer 3 questions. How do I attack? How do I defend? And how do I transition between both? If your shape can't do all 3 properly, it will fail, no matter how meta it looks. So don't just copy formations. Build around your team. Because once you get the shape right, everything else becomes easier. Let me use Bayern Munich as an example. If I'm choosing a shape, I don't start with the formation. I start with the players. So first, I look at the squad and ask, where is the strength?
Bayern have dangerous wingers. They have creative attacking midfielders. They have a top striker. And they have fullbacks that can support attacks. So immediately, I know I need a system that uses width, supports a central striker, and allows creativity in attack. Now the next question, how do I structure that? If I go too narrow, I waste the wingers. If I go too wide without control, I lose the midfield. So I need balance. That's where the 4-2-3-1 comes in. It gives me 2 midfielders for stability and control, 3 attacking players behind the striker for creativity, and natural width from the wings. Now everything starts to make sense. The wingers can stay wide and be dangerous. The attacking midfielder links play and creates chances. The striker stays supported instead of being isolated. And the double pivot keeps the team balanced defensively. So I'm not picking 4-2-3-1 because it's popular. I'm picking it because it fits the players. And that's how you should think when choosing your shape. Start with your team, not the tactic.
Now that you've chosen your shape, the next thing is roles. Roles in football can be broadly categorized into 3 main groups: attacking roles, defensive roles, and supporting roles. Attacking roles are responsible for creating and scoring goals. These roles operate mainly in the opponent's half and focus on offensive play. Defensive roles are responsible for preventing goals and protecting the team's goal area. These roles operate mainly in the team's half and focus on stopping the opposition. Supporting roles serve as a link between defense and attack. They help control the flow of the game,
distribute the ball, and assist both defensive and attacking actions. For example, attacking roles include advanced forward, target forward, pressing forward, poacher, inside forward, shadow striker, attacking midfielder. Supporting roles include deep lying forward, pressing forward, winger, box-to-box midfielder, deep-lying playmaker, advanced playmaker, wide midfielder, fullback, wingback, wingback.
And this is where most people get it wrong. They don't think about balance. You don't want to commit too many players to attack because your team will become exposed and vulnerable defensively. And you also don't want to commit too many players to defend because then your team will struggle to create chances. You need a balance between attacking, supporting, and defensive roles, because that balance is what makes a good tactic. So with that in mind, let's choose the roles. Let's start with the striker. Because of his technical ability, finishing, passing, and creativity, the roles that fit him best are center forward or deep lying forward. But I'm going with a center forward. Why? Because I still want him to be the main goal threat while using his overall quality. Now, for the wingers, I'm putting both of them on inside forward. Why? Because instead of staying wide and crossing, they cut inside into goal-scoring positions. This makes us more dangerous in attack and gives more support to the striker. Now, behind the striker, since we're the stronger team, I want to be more aggressive, so I'm using a shadow striker. His job is simple: arrive late, attack space, and add more goals from midfield. Now, the midfield too. I'm going with an advanced playmaker
And a box-to-box midfielder. The playmaker controls the game and creates chances, while the box-to-box gives energy, supports attacks, and still helps defensively in central areas. Normally, you would include a more defensive role here, but because of the quality in this team, we can afford to be more attacking. Now, the fullbacks. Since our wingers are already providing width, I don't want my fullbacks overlapping and crowding the flanks. So I'm using inverted fullbacks. They move inside, support the midfield, and give us more control in central areas. They also compensate the lack of wall winners we have in the midfield, and they drift inside the midfield to support and act as anchors.
For the center backs, I'm going with ball-playing defenders. Why? Because we don't have a natural ball winner in midfield, so we need defenders who are comfortable on the ball and can help in build-up play. And finally, the goalkeeper. I'll go with a sweeper keeper. This helps us deal with long balls and supports the high line by coming off his line when needed. And that's how you build your roles. Not too attacking, not too defensive, but balanced. Every part of the pitch is covered, and every role has a purpose. That is how you create a complete tactic.
One of the most important parts of any tactic is the tempo. And this is where a lot of people go wrong. They just pick high tempo because it feels exciting, or low tempo because they want control, without actually thinking about their players. But tempo decides how fast your team plays, how quickly you move the ball, and how often your players make decisions under pressure. So how do you choose the right tempo? You look at your players. And the two key attributes you should always check are decision and stamina. Decision-making tells you how well a player can choose the right action quickly. Stamina tells you how long they can keep up with the intensity of the game. Let's look at the team. Your striker has 19 decision and 16 stamina. Your winger has 16 decision and 15 stamina. And when you check the rest of the team, your midfielders, your defenders, you see the same pattern. High decision-making, good stamina. So what does that tell us? It tells us these players are comfortable playing fast football. They can think quickly, they can move quickly, and most importantly, they won't break down as the game goes on. That's why a high tempo works here.
Now for the shape tactics. For the team mentality, I'm going with counter. That's because I personally like counter-attacking football, absorbing pressure and then hitting teams quickly. But to be honest, attacking mentality can also work here, so I might switch between both depending on the game. We already know our width is normal and our tempo is fast, based on the players we have. Now for the defensive setup. I'm not changing too much here. We want teams to come onto us so we can punish them on the counter. That means we don't need a high line. Instead, we sit a bit deeper and invite pressure. And because of that, our pressing style will be in our own half. This helps us stay compact, win the ball, and then break quickly into space. Now, the attacking instructions. The only final third instruction I'm adding is shoot on sight. This simply means players won't overcomplicate things. They'll take chances earlier, which is perfect for quick counterattacks. For passing style, I'm going with mixed. This gives the team flexibility. They can play short when needed, but also go direct when there's space. Same thing with passing focus. Mixed. We're not forcing play through the middle or the wings. We let the team attack wherever the space is.
Goalkeeper distribution is also mixed, so we're unpredictable and not easy to read. And yeah, before we continue, make sure you subscribe and like the video to help the channel grow. Now, let's test this tactic in some games. Enjoy.